It's your boy Millz.
It's your boy Shann.
It's your boy Mus.
Here we go.
Welcome to episode 83 of the Faces of the Future podcast. It's your boy Millz.
It's your boy Mus. What's good with y'all? What's good? What's good?
How you doing today, bro?
I'm cooler.
We in a little new environment for the for the ones that are watching on YouTube. Before we start, if you're listening right now, if you're tuning in on Apple, Spotify, click that subscribe, click that follow button, subscribe, leave a review for us. If you're listening on YouTube, hit the subscribe button as well. But let's get into it, Mus, man. What you been up to? How's your week been?
Nah, it's been cooling. Niggas been working. You know, it's really it. Been working.
Yeah.
Work. That's it.
How's the because you got your main job and you have another one as well, right? Correct.
Yeah, I work 2 jobs.
So how was juggling like 2 jobs at once?
It's not hard. I mean, this past month I've been going because I've been watching my friends get married. But other than that, like it's a part-time job, so it's not a hard job at all. I really just sit there and don't really do much. So, but during the week, like that's my main job. I F with it a lot, so I'll be trying to make sure that I'm on it. You feel me? So
Facts.
So yeah.
You say you saw some of your friends get married these last few weeks over the months. What's it like seeing like your homies like tied a knot?
I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know how you be seeing the stories of your friends and how they be finding their partners and the stuff they be going through? Like, I'm happy for all of them. Like, every person that I've seen get married, I've been, like, a part of their story in one way, shape, or another. So, it's just interesting. I'm happy for them, you know?
Were you, like, in these weddings or on all of them, or you just, like, attending?
In 2 of them, I was.
Yeah, so what was the process like being, like, a groomsman? Was like the process similar on both aspects, or were they totally different experiences?
Yeah, for my homies, they like to start stuff on time. We was all on time. I mean, obviously, like I'm not trying to be rude. Yeah, I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like obviously like the ladies had to take a little bit longer to get dressed, so it was like I wasn't stressing about it, but it was cool. The first wedding was cool. It was very straightforward. They had already got married because they got married during COVID. They just had their wedding because they're moving, so I was happy for them. Everything was straightforward. We did everything. Everything was cool. We got done like 5. So,
5?
Yeah.
When did it start?
Like 11 in the morning.
Damn, so that was the wedding part? That's like
the whole wedding ceremony and reception, we were done by like 5.
Okay.
So I was happy as hell with that.
I thought you just said like the wedding was that long.
Oh, no. That sounds like a Catholic wedding. Absolutely not.
He said absolutely not.
But yeah, the second wedding, the second one I was in, it took a little bit longer just because like everything, the venue was really, really nice. They had like a groomsmen lounge. They had like the bridesmaid lounge. Like the groomsmen, they brought us breakfast. They had complimentary wine.
They treat you like king.
Yeah, I'm looking
king
like
Mus.
Damn. They had the pool table. I'm like, oh damn. I was living. I was
doing
cool.
your Dougie?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
It made you want to get married. Find you tied the knot.
I don't know about that, but maybe one day. One day, maybe.
I mean, does it at least give you hope? You know, I know you be having doubts sometimes. I mean, when you see your homies, like, man, I could be up there too.
Oh yeah, nah. It gave me it brought me back to a time and place in my life where I thought I was going to be married to somebody, but I was like, life, it happens, you know? Like, I'm not really. The reality of the situation is that there's things I obviously have to work on. There's things that I know I have to work on. So, I mean, the person I'm going to be with is going to be there. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly how I want, who I want. Not who, but I know exactly what I want, how I want it. And when I see him, I have it. So
you say you have things you want to work on and things of that nature. Like, if you were getting ready to go in a relationship right now, what would you say is like I'm gonna say flaw, but what's your biggest thing you think you would need to fix before you're ready to jump in and try to, you know what I'm saying, do the thing with somebody?
I gotta get out of I'll be honest, I have to get out of the mindset of like just always trying to be the one to fix everything. Because it's like one of the things that I don't appreciate, and I'm not trying to bash on people, a lot of women in this generation, like they don't really want to put in the work to maintain a guy. Like, it's like, and it sounds bad of me saying this, but it's like a lot of women kind of just want to be able to get all the benefits in terms of them going out to dinners, them doing all these different things, and then they don't want to put in the work on their end to like say, all right, this is what I need to do to keep my partner to make him happy. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's like, I have to learn that when I'm not getting what I want, and I'm not saying this off like rip, but if I'm trying to communicate and you keep doing the same thing, or you acting like an asshole, like I'm just dip. Like
when you say not ready to do the work, like what do you mean by that? Like, do you thinking like people think like relationships are gonna be handed to them, like it's gonna be a cakewalk, or like what do you mean by that?
Yeah, a lot of people have a very entitled mindset of like, okay, like as long as Toby has money or as long as Toby does this, the relationship is cool. But it's like, what about what Mus wants? Like, Mus has things that he wants you to work on, or Mus wants you to move in a certain way that's not gonna make him look crazy. And that's
what I'm saying, like, is it? I don't think that's right though to just like expect it off rip. You know
but that's my thing though. It's for me, it's not about expecting. I don't ever expect anybody to do something off rip ever. Like my thing is that I communicate things in terms of like, okay, this is what I expect and this is how I would like for it to be done. And if I see that I'm not gonna be mad off rip, you know what I'm saying? But after a while, it's like we dating for like 2-3 years and the same thing keeps happening or the same issues keep coming up where it's like, it's not even like it's not a fixable thing. It's like, it's something you can fix. You know what I'm saying? And if you choose not to do it after a while, it's like, I'm just gonna take it as disrespect.
Disrespect? What do you mean? Like they don't care?
They don't care. Much? Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like I've always said on the pod, it's like a lot of the people who are in relationships and have been in relationships, I'm not saying everybody's relationship is healthy, but at a certain point, they are looking at themselves to see what's working or what's not. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those people, to an extent, I'm not saying it's a healthy way, that's not really for me to decide, but a lot of people know how to have conflict resolution in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
You think so? You think a lot of people know?
A lot of people, because it's like my thing, it's not saying that everything's going to be resolved, but there's a way that everybody, at least with their partner, knows how to resolve something. Like, all right, this is chopped, like I'm not stressed about it no more.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times for myself, I'm speaking for me, my relationships, I don't resolve, my issues don't get resolved. They kind of just
fade away.
Yeah, I don't, because I don't
push to the back burner or what?
Yeah, that's for me.
I mean, I think that may be a testament to yourself though. In the sense you're allowing it to push to the back burner. That you can't. I mean, you can't blame that on your partner if they don't. If it doesn't get resolved, I think that's a 2-person issue, not just a 1-person issue.
It's a 2-person issue. I guess for me, I'll put it like this. Like for me, part of my issues in my last relationship was that, and I'm not saying I'm perfect because I'm not perfect, but there were things that I didn't want to happen in the relationship that continued to happen. And it wasn't even like there were big issues, but it was just like, bro, like I keep asking you to do this, and every single time something happened. Like at this point, like I'll ask you like 6 times to not do something continuously.
But my thing is this: in a relationship, though, is it your job to change somebody though? I don't think it's your job to change somebody.
It's not your
because that's what it kind of like sounds like a little bit. It's like you're saying like I'm telling you to do this, this, and this. Maybe that's just not them.
I'm saying this from a standpoint of, in the terms of basic respect for your partner. Mm-hmm. There are certain things where if you have communicated, hey, I don't like this, this is how it makes me feel, and you agree that you'll stop doing it, but then you go back and do it later, that's disrespectful.
Okay, give me an example. Because I get what you're saying, but give me an example so it's just like clear. Like it doesn't have to be something like you went through, just like something in general.
All right, so it's like, I'll just throw it out. For example, like cheating, right? If a woman gets mad about cheating, right? Yeah, no, I'm not going to cheat no more. You know, I'm going to go to the lady. I'm going to do this, that. Yeah. Like, when that happens, yeah, all right, cool. The lady is trying to put herself in a position to trust you again, right? 2 weeks later, your phone just unlocked or whatever. Yeah. She sees, oh, you texting some shorty from the internet. Yeah.
You texting old faith.
Yeah, so now something happens. She see that, all right, why are you texting her?
Okay.
And something happened. It's like she continuously asks, yo, I don't want you texting your ex, or I'm not comfortable with you doing this. This makes me feel uncomfortable because of said issue we went through. And if she's continuing to communicate that, or this makes me feel uncomfortable, but you still continue to do it and you're doing it in private, that's disrespectful to her because you don't care. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. So while we're on this relationship topic, some crazy stuff happened this past week. I know Mus is gonna have a heyday with this. So over this past week, an Onlyfans model named Courtney Tailor, she's has like 2 million followers, things of that nature, is accused of allegedly killing her boyfriend in Miami. And this article that I'm about to read is from The Sun. It says, an OnlyFans model and influencer, Courtney Tailor, stands accused of allegedly killing her boyfriend in Miami, and now her Instagram offers chilling details about the weeks before the terrifying incident. Taylor, real name Courtney Clenny, is said to have stabbed Christian Toby to death at their Miami apartment, according to police. Police responded to a 911 call from Clenny on April 3rd, 2022, around 5 p.m., where they found her boyfriend stabbed once in the shoulder. First responders took him to a nearby hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. So, and then after that article was released, a video footage showed her like covered in blood in her hotel room or the apartment that they were in. So, what are your initial thoughts, Mus?
I told y'all niggas 2 weeks ago. This is why I would not touch white women. I'm not even.
This is your prime example, huh?
This be my example, bro. Like, she stabbed him, and she just act like everything was okay and post on her OnlyFans.
Yeah,
you know how crazy you have to be to do that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, what I said like a couple weeks ago is a joke, but it's like there's a lot of things that just make me uncomfortable, and it's like, and I'm not saying that this isn't a situation that happens in all races, but it's like this is just me proving my point. Okay, once again, like, y'all need to be listening to me on this podcast. I'll be saying everything that I say is not crazy, but on a serious note, though, I just think that it's wild that like you stabbed your boyfriend for whatever reason, whatever it is. Maybe y'all got into an argument. Like, the fact that you felt the need to do that and then posted on OnlyFans as if nothing happened is actually wild.
And she was walking around like at the bar, whatever, with someone else, like nothing even happened.
Yeah, that's
nuts.
That's wild.
Nuts. Like, do you think that's psychotic behavior?
Yes, it is psychotic behavior.
And why is she not detained? Like, so she said she got out because of some act or something like that. Do you know? Like,
I didn't actually read the act.
But she got released, like, because I forget what the name of the act is. We'll have to look it up. But it's ridiculous that somebody that's allegedly killed their spouse is walking around free like nothing happened. Yeah,
and you're the only one in the house and you're not a suspect, you know? And it's all I'm gonna say is it sounds wild, but it just like it was a white woman, and in this country when it comes to dealing with things with white women, it's like a lot of white women get the freedom to move in a way that they want to move because they're viewed as very weak, delicate people in society.
Well. I was reading through social media when this case arose and things of that nature. There's been a lot of pushbacks too. They said the guy had it coming because the way he was talking about like black women and his history and like how he's a black man himself, obviously. So they were like saying, oh, he had it coming for him. He should have known something like this was gonna happen. And she didn't really care for him. Things of that nature. It's like when you hear stuff like that, what would you think? I
think that y'all just sound exactly like all the news people, all the white people that are online that say that people like George Floyd deserve to die because he had a counterfeit $20 bill, or Alton Sterling, or Sandra Bland, or any of those people. Like, this is the thing, and I'll use this as a relationship example. Or when you out in public with your spouse, right, or when you out in public with family, you let them move in a certain way in public, and then in private you correct them, right?
Facts.
We as a collective of people have a tendency to throw our own under the bus very quickly and bash people online, wherever it is, how you want to move. And it gives other people the freedom to move in a certain way, right? Mm-hmm. And for that, how I look at this is that now, if God forbid another black man or black woman dies, and they come up and say, oh, he smoked weed, he did this. How are y'all now going to sit here and judge the news articles and judge all the journalists for saying stuff like that?
That's what they just did to Dwayne Haskins.
Exactly. It's like Dwayne Haskins, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Is like, well, it's funny that like it's okay for us to bash a black man because of his dating preferences, or say that he had it coming because, you know, he wanted to date a white woman, which I'm not saying I agree with, or how he talked about black women, but it's okay. But it's not okay for these same people who don't look like us to now say that, oh, he was a thug, he was this. Y'all doing the same thing. Y'all just think it's justified because you're saying it and because you're black. There's no difference.
Do you think it happens all too often? And what do you think the reason is for that, though?
In terms of us,
like, in terms of like, why do you think that people are reacting that? Why do you think that's their first reaction to the situation? Not like the same way that when Dwayne Haskins, like you said, we'll talk about later, but the same way Dwayne Haskins and Adam Schefter said something about him, they were backing him up, but when it comes to this kid, they're like giving him backlash because of it.
It's because of people's interpretation is like people feel like you have to come off as a good person for you to receive sympathy. And I think that in a lot of cases, because people feel like they need to be a good person and they have to feel like the story has to be he was innocent, he did nothing wrong for us to give our sympathy. And I think a lot of times, like, we as people and we as human beings, we don't give each other enough sympathy just on the fact that we're human. Like, you got stabbed to death, take race out of it, take all, like, he got stabbed to death by his girlfriend.
Yeah,
like,
you got to take, I think it has nothing to, like, it's just, obviously we don't know the context of the relationship, like, if there was anything going on, but regardless of what happened, it's just like somebody's got stabbed to death and they died. This like who he dated or his preference shouldn't be the topic of discussion, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's and if I don't want to be that kind of guy, but this is also a problem that I think that we always seem to have when we have these conversations about trying to move forward or trying to be better as African Americans or as a race. It's like we always try to use the smaller issues to now justify the reason why the big issues that we have shouldn't be justified. Like, I'm just looking, I didn't comment because I wanted to, but I'm like, bro, like, y'all all sound really weird saying that, oh yeah, he hated black women, he hated this, that, and the third. I don't care. Like, I don't care he had it coming, but it's like, bro, it's like, I get it, right? Black women, in terms of a lot of things, like, black women are kind of like, how do I say this? Black women are when it comes to issues, you have to pay attention, in my opinion, to black women to check the temperature of the room.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that in terms of issues that are important to us as a society and moving forward, I think in a lot of cases, black women really give the society, in a lot of cases, the thoughts of what is the real issue in society.
So you're saying they kind of lead the charge in what we should care about?
Not lead. I don't want to say lead the charge.
I'm just trying to understand what you mean by that.
I'm saying that in a sense of like, when something happens, we should look at the black women and get their opinion, because they're the ones that are going to give us the objective insight sometimes. But when it comes to race issues,
we're pretty much saying we should value what they're saying, because
the value in what they're saying is there, and you should always take that into consideration, because they give you their unfiltered thoughts, however you want to look at it, right?
Okay, I get what
and
you mean now.
Us as black men have to be able to take that information and move in a way that benefits everybody. And my thing is that, like, in this situation, yeah, they're right. Oh, he talked about black women. He this, that, and the third. You're right. But I think that in this case, right, I think that this is one of those cases where we also have to come to grips that not everybody's going to do things that are going to be justified or make you want to support somebody, but they still deserve the sympathy. Like,
yeah,
it's OD to me. Like,
facts. But yeah, RIP to him. And I hope like the situation gets brought to justice, because I just don't get how. Literally, there's a video of this girl with like blood all over her body, bro, and like the cops weren't like really detaining her. They're letting her like cry and all that stuff, and nothing was really happening. And I'm just like, if that was anybody else, like that would not be going down.
That's what I'm saying. It's
just I don't know.
I think that it sounds wild, but I think that white girl tears are more valuable than diamonds in this country, bro. Like it's.
I won't debate you on that.
It's OD. Like, had that been a black woman. Never mind. If that was a black woman that stabbed her husband,
it was anybody else. Yeah,
they would be detained, bro.
But I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Like I said, I hope the case gets solved. I hope justice is brought, because that's nuts. But yeah, bro, let's jump up into the Grammys real quick. Okay. What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with the snubs, or you want to start with the reggae?
I mean, snubs gonna go into the reggae.
All right, let's go. Go ahead.
I think Wizkid not winning was really crazy to me.
In what category?
Best world album.
Yeah, because it felt like he had these last like 2 years. It seemed like
he should have won.
He's been on top. You feel me?
He should have won. Like, and it's kind of it's. I saw a video which was really interesting that like they said that those people who were doing the voting, they probably saw everything. They probably looked at the lyrics and stuff like that, and they were just like, eh. But they saw Angelique Kidjo's album, who was talking about things like the racial tension, all that stuff.
But why would the lyrics like change the voting perspective? Like, I feel like when Wizkid's like music was so like impact, like you heard it, felt like you heard his music.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm just using that because I just saw it. I'm just throwing that idea out there that maybe it could have been a possibility. I personally think it's BS. Yeah. I don't think that there was anything that he could have done that would make her win. Because it's like, I think that because my problem is sometimes with Grammys, they move the goalpost, right? Because it's like, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that to Wizkid, right? Mm-hmm. And just using that video as an example, they said, oh yeah, she was talking about all these different things, where Burna Boy did the same thing. The first time he dropped his first album, and y'all didn't give him the Grammy either. Right. And it's like I'm not saying Angelique Kidjo's not she's an amazing artist, but how I'm looking at it is that we have people that have presence, right? When people that have presence, and you obviously have to lobby for these people, all that other stuff, play the game, we know that. Mm-hmm. But you have this dude who had a presence, and he's had a presence for a year. The first time he touched down in America, he had 2 singles. He had Ojo Alegba remix with Drake, which changed everything. He was on Drake's first #1 single, dropped his own album, still had a song that charted, left for a little bit, had his little thing, came back, dropped an album 2 years ago. And people still play it like it came out like last year.
That's a fact.
And it's like, my thing is that at what point do we not play the game? He
had the song of the summer too, huh?
Yeah, he had Song of the Summer. He still has Song of the Summer. Yeah. Like, That's my thing, and it's like it's just weird to me that happened. You know,
status wise, where do you think Wizkid ranks like in like artist in the world right now? Do you think he's the top?
He's one of the biggest artists in the world. Like, put it like this: like maybe a lot of Americans don't understand, but Wizkid is arguably the biggest artist
in the world.
In Africa,
he probably is the biggest artist in Africa.
It's him, Burna Boy.
But I think Wizkid is bigger than Burna right now, though.
In America, it's debatable.
I'm talking about in Africa.
Oh no, that's a fact. No, that's a fact.
I seen some videos of Wizkid's concert.
Yeah, no,
he's and good women jumping up and trying to grab.
He is. When you go to Africa, you go to a Wizkid concert. You're going. That thing is. It's like you're looking. Yeah, you're looking at the stadium tours here in America from like. Yeah. They do that on the regular.
He sound like soccer stadiums.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's nuts. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Is in Africa, him, Burna Boy, Davido, they're like they are the biggest artists in Africa. Like, the biggest artist, right? Yeah. And my thing is that like people, and I'll divulge on this before we go back to the Grammy talk. But it's like it's interesting how we look at them as if no, Burna Boy's cool. So I'm like, bro, like y'all don't understand how big this man is. Like,
you always been an advocate. Go. That's why I've been tapped in. You always been an advocate early, like. For the longest time, that you kind of like introduced me to that scene. You feel me? So
yeah, because it's how do I say this without? Actually, I just say it like this. It's like when people came on to like Island and came on to reggae music, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's just so amazing. But it's like think of that, but in a more melodic way. And I'm not saying reggae music and dancehall isn't melodic, but like if you peep the sound of everything that was happening, Drake peeped on that sound like 6 years ago. That's why he took Wizkid all them, because the sound was changing. It's changing into an Afro swing type of thing. This is why, like, for me, I know if Shannon was here, he'd be joking about it. I was like, that's why I was so big on the UK music, because it's like they kind of, when you kind of peep, the movement was kind of shifting into that sound. And so now you
thought you was part of the movement, huh?
Hell yeah, nigga, that shit was fire.
You thought he was in there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like when you peep that change of sound, for me, it's like, yo, look at this stuff that's new and it sounds fresh. Yeah. When Wizkid dropped this album 2 years ago, that thing was probably the smoothest album I ever heard in my life, bro. Like,
where do you rank in like your favorite like albums of recent? I guess you could say.
Oh, of recent? Yeah. Oh, that's definitely top 5, top 10.
What was the Burner album that you loved?
African Giant.
African Giant. Like, as compared to those two, like where did you?
I mean, they're two different kind of albums. So I mean, I personally like Burna Boy more than I like Wizkid.
Okay.
So I respected the album more because I resonate with Burna Boy more in terms of like how his story and how he came up and stuff like that compared to Wizkid, because Wizkid was just an instant star.
Yeah,
like people with Burna Boy went through the trenches. Like he was in he was in the music videos with like Davido, Wizkid, all that stuff, and he kind of just built his own brand into who he is now. And now he kind of like branched down, like talking about political activism, talking about all these different things, and it's just a really he's an amazing artist. And they're both amazing artists.
I've grown to learn to like Burna a lot. I agree with that 100%.
He's different. He's very different.
You know who else is different? Baby Keem, and I'm happy he got one.
Yeah, Baby Keem is different.
That was one of my favorite W's of the night.
Yeah, I was happy for him. I was definitely happy for him because it was interesting. I was talking to someone. He said that he didn't like Baby Keem's album.
Who said that?
I'm not gonna tell you all that now, but he said he didn't like it because he just felt like he ain't have nothing to say.
What do you mean? How do you not have nothing to say? Baby Keem was like, I feel like he's pushing the genre forward in a sense.
He's pushing that sound of rap forward.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like there's only a few people that can do the type of style rap he does. Like obviously Kendrick is the best at it.
Yeah.
But like no songs sound the same to me.
No, they don't.
That's what I appreciated about the project. You feel me? A lot of times nowadays, like, the artist, like the project will be, every song will sound the same, be the same vibe, whatever it may be. Like you go to Baby Keem's album that he just dropped. Every song sounds different, but it all sounds like it should belongs together.
Yeah, now that's the thing, because it's like I'll say, in him and like I don't know what to call it, like the SoundCloud rapper era. Mm-hmm. Like I think that for him, that's one of the things that was important, because when you look at, say, someone like Yeat, for example, right? Like Yeat, I think Yeat's a great artist, but most of his music sounds exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? And it's like for Baby Keem, like you said, none of that stuff sounds the same, but they all sound very, like, they sound cohesive, because the whole thing was like, you have a heavy bass, you have a heavy beat album. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of the young rappers like now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for him to lead that charge in that way and to make music like that and like on like a clean one, was it 13, 14, 15 tracks, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't too long. It was too short, yeah.
It was perfect to me. I think that was the perfect album.
And then another thing that I like about him is like he's experimental on his projects. You feel me?
Yeah.
You can tell he's not afraid to make a record where it's some new shit. Like nobody's ever dropped it before, but he's just trying. He wants to see what it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I respect it because it's like that shows that you're trying to work. And I think like one of the biggest things and one of the best things about it is that he's young. Like he's like 21, 22.
He's super young, young.
So it's like he can chill, especially because he won a Grammy. He can chill. He can chill for a little bit and just try to, experience life. But it's gonna be big expectations now because now you're gonna have to appeal to a wider, diverse audience. And I think that he could do it.
I think he can. Yeah. I think he does already, though. I feel like his audience already is very, very diverse in the terms of people that listen to him. Because a lot of people I talk to, it's like a wide range of people that listen to Baby Keem. Like you could play Baby Keem's music at a rage, you could play him at a regular function. You feel me? So
that's true. That's a good point. Because normally the reason why I'm thinking about it is because my thing is on a lot of artists, I think that a lot of artists have a really, really good first album and then have a very mid-second album, or they have a very bad first album and have a very, very good second album. Yeah. And because Baby Keem got a Grammy for this one and he got the Kendrick feature, I don't want him to go make a new album and then it's mid and everyone's like, oh, well, we don't know if he was going to get something because of Kendrick or Kendrick wasn't doing the cosign.
But I don't think people could even say that for him. Even if it wasn't like top tier, because what was his project before Die For My Bitch? I think it was called.
Yeah,
that joint slapped. You feel me?
Oh, it did.
That's what I'm trying to say. He has bodies of work. You feel me? And it's like, I think he's only getting better. Like those projects were good.
True.
Like you listen to his first project, his projects before, they were good. But like this project now, A Lot of Blue was just even better. It's like you see he's leveling up in stages. And I think, I don't know, it's just different. Because like the way the response was his project was different than like say like a Roddy Ricch when he dropped his project. People didn't really rock with it.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah,
I didn't think it was a bad project, but it didn't seem like he elevated his game.
If
that makes sense.
He came out with some, I don't know what he was trying to do. He tried to come out on some Kendrick nonsense and that didn't work out. But he'll be all right.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But since we own it right now, let's talk about Tyler.
You gotta get credit where credit's due when it comes to Tyler, man.
What did I?
You have to, but we've been saying it though. We've been saying it, but I
said it.
Yeah, but I think I said one time, it was last season. I think when he went on was it on Ebro in the morning?
Yeah, and
that was like the first time you really heard Tyler like talk his shit. You feel me? Most of the time he's goofing around, doing whatever. He was literally like, it's time for people to give me my stick. Like I'm not playing no more. Like people keep playing in my face, this type of thing, but. It's about that time, and now that he has the Grammy to back it up, bro.
And that's my thing, and that's what I think that out of everybody in the past, when did Flower Boy come out? I think like 2017. Yeah, in the past like 5-6 years, he's probably had one of the best three album runs in that time frame. Like when you really think about it, like he had Flower Boy, which that joint went crazy.
Dumb.
Then he had Igor, and he barely rapped on that and won a Grammy.
Yeah.
And then now he came in and then he actually won in the best rap category with Rap Titans. Like you be out Ye, you be out Drake, you be out Nas.
Yep.
Who else did he beat out?
Cole.
He beat out Cole too. Cause like that thing, like
that's crazy.
Like
that is crazy when you think about it. Those are like the rap guys right there.
That's what I'm saying. And my thing is that like it's interesting because he really be around like Benny the Butcher and West Side Gun and all them. And it's like people not respecting Tyler because he got his nails painted. He be wearing not weird clothes, but he be wearing like
his own lane, bro.
And now it's like, it's like, what's going on? Like this weird, like DJ Khaled said, this mysterious dude come in and like he out rapping everybody because he really spit. Like
he really spit, and people don't realize how big his following is, bro.
And that's what I'm saying.
And people talk about like moguls in the space. Tyler needs to be on that list with his fashion, with his fashion line, with his music, with his production, all that stuff, bro. And I feel like he doesn't get enough credit.
He doesn't because people
talk about him that much.
Because people really don't pay attention to it because and I don't want to be on some grandiose. I'm not saying I'm some special guy, but he does a lot of the stuff that some of the stuff that I have done, which was very detrimental. But also decided to change.
What you mean detrimental?
So what people don't understand, what I mean by that is like Tyler was the kind of person where he didn't take stuff seriously, or he appeared to not take stuff seriously. But when you actually talk to him about it, he'll be like, "Oh, he really know what he talking about." Yep, you know what I'm saying? Like, and when you get him into the right conversation, he really gonna talk and show you how much he knows, right? And my thing is that because he had Loiter Squad, he did all, like you saw him on Tumblr doing goofy stuff with his friends, and the way that he acts sometimes, it's like, oh, we don't gotta take him seriously. And because people never really took him seriously, it's like, oh, he kind of do this little rapping stuff, he kind of do this thing, he has a little click. But then when you really start seeing him, he's rapping for real. It's like, oh, he's different. Like he did that. He has a very similar brand in how Drake does, where he has his own fashion brand that nobody really talks about. Golf LaFleur. He has all this stuff going on. He's branching out to different brands. He's been a mogul for a minute, like I said, but people don't pay attention to because people have never really taken Tyler seriously until just now. You know what I'm saying?
I can agree with that for sure, because I think a lot of people still see Tyler as, like you said, that person that was on YouTube with his clique just doing dumb stuff. You feel me?
Yeah, and that's
the stuff that you see every kid doing now. Like he was leading the charge, and that people don't talk about that either.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's him, and I'll say Donald Glover, who has led the charge in a lot of different things. But I've already said my own about Donald Glover, and people are just not realizing it. But we're not gonna get. We can get into discussion if we want. But
about Donald Glover?
Yeah, I mean, but Tyler. But the thing is with Tyler, because let's close out on Tyler. I think that now because Tyler's externally taking himself seriously to the public, people have to take him seriously now, because he will out rap you if you play. Like, y'all should have took him seriously when he was rapping bar for bar with Lil Wayne. Like, come on now, stop.
They didn't take him seriously then.
Now look at him. He rap with Westside. He rap with Westside Gun. And come on now.
Yeah, because when you listen to his project, he was really saying some shit on there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People don't listen. Y'all don't want to listen. Y'all don't listen.
To me, I don't know. I may be biased right now, but I wanted Ye to win that joint, bro.
So
I ain't gonna even hold you. I wanted Ye to run that. I've been playing his project like nonstop still.
So I'll say this. I only recently changed my mind about rooting for Donda in the Grammy for Album of the Year, because apparently I didn't do the research on this yet, but if this is true, this is why I'm rooting for it. With Album of the Year, everybody who's on that feature apparently gets a Grammy as well.
Everybody does.
So my thing is that you threw everybody on there, and let's say hypothetically, like the Grammys didn't go the way that they went. You know how many people would have won a Grammy? Playboy Cardi has a Grammy. The Weeknd has another. Well, Weeknd already won, but
your boy would get one too. First of the year.
Playboy Cardi would have won a Grammy. Baby Keem would have had a Grammy. You know what I'm saying, for Album of the Year.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it would have been great to see all those people that were on there that was a part of the album win a Grammy. Because like someone like Chance, who probably ghost wrote, like he got a Grammy.
And then all the producers, probably had a gang of producers on there too.
Yeah. That's the reason why I'm rooting for the album. Taking out my own personal thoughts on the album. I was rooting, once I heard about that, I was like, all right, yeah, nah. That would have been tough. For hip hop, that would have been tough.
That would have been super tough. He got a Grammy though. What song did he get it for?
It was Jail and that other song with him and The Weeknd.
See, so he got a couple. He still came away with a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, so he won on the night exactly, but I don't know. I didn't think Drake's joint was gonna win. I thought Cole was a sleeper though, because Cole has a solid project, bro.
He does.
As much as you don't like Cole, I think he has a solid project.
I don't not like Cole. It's like my issue with Cole is the fact of his fans are the reason why they push him into a different stratosphere. The way that they talk about him, obviously they're fans, so I get it. Yeah. But it's like you would think that J. Cole invented rap the way that people talk about J. Cole.
I don't think that, bro. People don't think J. Cole invented rap the way they talk about him. Bro.
The way that they talk about him yesterday.
How to explain? Explain how.
It's like, we use the classic example. J. Cole went platinum with no features, and I'm like, there's plenty of other. I'm probably not going to name off the top of my head, but there are plenty of artists that went platinum with no.
Disclaimer. I was going to ask you too.
Yeah, I was like, there's plenty of rappers that probably have went platinum with no features. And my thing is that it's not even just about that. It's like, I'm not saying that album wasn't good. When you look at the whole cohesive project of 2014 Forest Hills Drive, was great. But let's also be honest. J. Cole came out with like what, 5 projects since then?
Yeah,
5, 6 projects. Can we say, if you look at every single one, we can say at least all of them are at least a minimum 8 out of 10? Minimum.
Yeah.
For Your Eyes Only is 8 out of 10?
You said I thought you meant at least like that's the cap.
No. I'm saying the bare minimum for all of his albums that he's dropped are they.
No.
You can't. And my thing is that if you're going to be able to talk about a rapper in such a great way, they have to at least come out with an 8 out of 10 from when.
For every project?
from, how do I say this? From the point of where they reached stardom and they came out with their project, their actual debut album projects, for you to be that great rapper, for me to be like, yo, like you definitely top 5, top 2 in the game, you have to. But I think that, and that's the reason why I don't put Drake in there, because I don't think all of his albums are all 8 out of 10.
So which one do you think is not 8 out of 10?
For me,
yeah,
I think that Views isn't. Views is definitely not.
Views slaps.
Certified Lover Boy is definitely not an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
So my thing is that, like,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
We said that on the pod.
Yeah. So my thing is that I'm not, like, for J. Cole, I'm not saying J. Cole's a phenomenal rapper. I think he goes crazy, but I think that his fans pushed him into that stardom, which is cool. But I think that for me, I would never say that J. Cole's a bad rapper. He's a great rapper. But in terms of projects, how do I say this? I think for me, this is just my opinion. For me, I feel like one of the reasons why I did like him, because we talked about this before, was because I like the personability, like J. Cole being personable on the album.
Okay.
I think that if he can make each of his songs, again, extremely, extremely personable while still spitting the bars that he does now and still having a cohesive project, I will shut up. And I think that to this day, I still think that.
You don't think his last project did that, though?
Which one are you talking about?
The one he just dropped.
Which one? The one
not
with
the Dreamville one, but his project.
No. I still think that Born Sinner is his best work. I still don't think he's made an album better than Born Sinner.
Okay.
Track for track and overall.
I'm not gonna beat you because Born Sinner is obviously a top tier project. So
he has not touched the album yet. Never.
Did you listen to the Dreamville project?
Oh yeah, no, I went crazy.
I thought it
slapped.
That record stick, boy. That joint. When I was listening to it in the car, that joint was thumping, bro. Like,
yeah, no, that joint went crazy. That joint. I was like, okay, yeah, I like this.
Tell me a little bit about the reggae snub you were talking about.
So
I saw a little bit of it, but tell the listeners so much about it.
So the Grammy for best reggae album went to a bunch of white guys, essentially, and I say like that for a reason.
It was it was like a picture of like 7 of them.
Yeah. So it was who was in the Grammy nominations? It was Etana, Sean Paul, who else? Gramps Morgan, and then Soulja, apparently. And okay. Soulja was the people that won, and there's just a group of white guys. And I'm just like,
but does genre have a color? Like, why does it matter?
I don't think genre has a color, but I just think that certain things just don't make sense.
Explain what you mean, though. But if their music was quality, why does it matter if they won?
Because my thing is, like, how does it look that the only people that won in the best reggae album with someone like Sean Paul, someone like Etana, all these different people, a group of white guys won? I
get what you're saying, but what if their record really just slapped though? Like,
it probably did. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't listened to that joint.
So how you gonna how you say give a judgment or you didn't even listen to the record, bro?
Because
you could probably listen to that joint. That joint might be captivating to you. Like,
absolutely
not. I see why they won.
Absolutely not. That's like me saying Logic. That's like me saying Logic should win best rap album. Exactly. Exactly.
Is Logic not a good rapper?
He is, but my thing is that there's a very big difference between Logic rapping on a rap track and someone like, say, Wale rapping on a rap track. Like, it sound bad, but it's like when, okay, let me put it like this. Because Logic's issue, in my opinion, is he's not an authentic person when he makes his music. All his stuff is very, very imitating. Like,
I feel you.
So, and for him, it's like you haven't since your Sinatra trilogy, you haven't really made anything that kind of shows me like, all right, like this is something that we can really feel. Like everything feels very, very forced. It doesn't feel authentic.
Okay. With that being said, I've heard some stuff like as you see like Jack Harlow like rising and things of that nature. I've heard like conversations about that same thing, but. Like, what do you feel about his rise and where his place is in hip hop right now? He dropped a record that's nuts. I
mean, but I think that's the difference, though. I think that Jack Harlow is very authentic with who he is. Like, I think I've said this before. Like, when it comes to rap, how you rap is also very much important to how you come off. Yeah. Like, J. Cole, and this is why, this is another reason why I'm not saying J. Cole's like top one. My thing with J. Cole is that J. Cole has had very bad bars. Very bad bars.
Bars you said think he's like not top tier?
I'm the shit, but you can't outfart me.
All right, that's okay.
You get what I'm saying?
That's a nutty bar right there.
Like you can't have bars like that and niggas calling you top one.
You can't be wasting bars and say you're the top bull. You saying?
Yeah, like, and that's my thing. And for me, is like when you have somebody like J. Cole, where you come off as you supposed to be.
Was like poopity scoop, scoopity poop.
Oh yeah, no, that track was garbage, bro. That track was.
Did that devalue what he does? It doesn't.
But I mean, but Ye's already solidified his legacy.
Okay. Back to what you're saying about Cole. I just thought
it's like it's like for rappers, like how you come off in your bars should also match who you are as a person. Like there's lines that Big Sean can say that are tough because Big Sean said it. Okay. Like Drake couldn't say what Big Sean can say. J. Cole can't say it. Wale can't say
it. They rap totally different though.
But I'm not saying that in a sense of rapping different. I'm saying in a sense of like, even if they tried to come up with like a bar that's similar, not in the same flow, but a bar on the same topic, it may come off better from Big Sean because it comes off corny. And Big Sean's not corny, but it comes off very
that's what I mean. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like the way Big Sean, I guess you could say, enunciates on a record or whatever.
Yeah,
it's different than the way Drake would come on a record. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, what you're saying makes. I guess I'm trying to say in terms of like, how do I say this? I mean, I guess I think we're saying the same thing.
We are in a sense.
Yeah.
You're also that comes into like the way who Big Sean is.
Yeah, as an individual. Yeah.
You feel me? I get what you're saying. Like, so one person can't get this bar off because this is the way they are.
Yeah, it's like there's certain people and there's certain rappers that you listen to, and certain rappers can make that track. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's certain people where you can't make that. Like going back to Tyler, nobody can make a Yonkers. Nobody can make a Yonkers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember.
But Tyler to an extent can make a lot of the stuff that a lot of these other people are doing. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
Nobody can make an A$AP Rocky record because A$AP has a certain type of gravitas when he's on an album.
Okay.
But A$AP Rocky can make a lot of things. He can make a lot of SoundCloud rap music. You get what I'm saying? It's like there's a certain way that you have to move with that.
Yeah. So with that being said, like where do you rank Tyler then? Like
he's top 5 right now.
I'm saying where though when you're top 5? Like is he top 2, top 3, top 1?
No, he's definitely top 4. He's top 4. He comes after Cole. Well, actually, no.
You see, because you just. I would say how's gonna go after Cole? You just said Cole has
Drake had to drop. Now I'm thinking about Drake has to drop because I can't use all this. I have to use recent projects. Yeah, Drake has to come out my top 5. Drake's out my top 5.
Drake's out of your top 5.
Yes, so it has to be Kendrick and Cole because they've both been consistent in the way that they are consistent, and Tyler has to be up there.
So right now you have Kendrick, Cole, Tyler. Who's your last 2?
Who else? Wale has to be up there. Wale has to be up there, and then it has to be it's Big Sean because Detroit was fire.
So Drake is falling. Actually, Drake's not the top bull in the rap game right now.
No, he's not. I can say that with ease. No,
you put Lil Baby.
I'm not putting Lil Baby in top 5.
Is he close though? I think he has to be close.
In terms of just rappers or just artists?
We're talking about rapping.
Pure rapping? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He has to be up there.
Yeah, I put him like top 10.
Okay.
Because I have to put Benny up there.
Damn. So wow. So where does Drake lie in your top 10 then?
He might be 10.
Name the 10 rappers better.
Benny is definitely better than him right now. Benny definitely rap better than him right now. I'm putting in West Side Gun for a fact. Even actually, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to push agendas.
So you said Benny
Westside, Wale, Big Sean, Cole, Kendrick, Baby. Who else? Because I know I'm missing somebody crazy.
Is Dirk over him?
No. Dirk is nowhere close to him. Let me see. Because I'm not gonna say nothing crazy. And this is just U.S. rappers, so I gotta.
So who's your UK? Put your UK people in it too.
If I put my UK in there, then I gotta put Dave because that nigga outspits half the niggas here.
Okay, that's 8. You guys, I need 2 more.
I mean Drake is 10.
Okay, so 1 more.
So if I put in another, I'm not do that. But let me see, because I know I'm missing somebody crazy right now.
So he's like 9 or 10 right now for you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him that low, but that's here nor there. Was there any other like surprises for the Grammys for you though?
No, everything else seemed pretty straightforward.
Everything else pretty straightforward for you?
Yeah.
Let's jump into the Faces of the Future song of the day, presented by MBT Network. If you guys are listening on YouTube, click that big red subscribe button and subscribe to the channel for all the updates on our new video content. If you're listening on Apple, you listen on Spotify, click the subscribe or follow button and leave us a review, man. Let us know what you want us to talk about and discuss. The Faces of the Future song of the day comes from a rising artist out of the Bronx. Goes by the name of Smokey Margella. He dropped a record that's been going viral with the boy that played, Michael Rainey from Power, called Bronx Baby. Once again, this is Smokey Margella, Bronx Baby. Once again, that was Smokey Margella, Bronx Baby.
My boy Smokey.
He turned up the joint in South by Southwest.
He did. It was a good joint. Let's
jump into some sports real quick. We're going to start off with some sad news. Steelers quarterback Dwayne Haskins passed away at the age of 24. Apparently, he allegedly got hit by a car after training in the offseason, which is kind of crazy, man. He's so young, so talented, and things of that nature. And we were talking about reporters and things of that nature, like coming off the wrong way, and we touched on it lightly. Like Adam Schefter's getting a lot of like backlash. I want to hear your thoughts on: do you think the way Adam presented what had happened to Dwayne was wrong? And if so, do you think he should apologize for what he said?
He does need to apologize because what he said was effed up, point blank. Period. It's like you got to understand that when you're on the internet, at a certain point, somebody's going to see what you say if you leave it up long enough.
Facts.
Like, and for you to sit here and say
he deleted it, right?
Yeah, he deleted it. It was like, oh yeah, him being a struggling quarterback, the tweet, whatever. But it's like that's wrong for you to say. And I think that this is another conversation that I think that we should have as African Americans about how people view us when we are in the entertainment industry. Like, Dwayne Haskins is more than just an entertainer. Like, he's a human being. He's a son. He is a significant other. He is a part, all that stuff, right? Like, he's more than just throwing a football. And for you to now sit here and just say, oh yeah, he was struggling, quarterback struggled throughout his time, his tenure, whatever, is like, is disrespectful, because at the end of the day, that's a life.
It is a
like,
life.
It's a life. Like, the first thing that your parents shouldn't see from you is that, oh, he's a struggling quarterback. Like, who gives a shit? Because his life is more important than him struggling on the football field.
His life is gone. At the end of the day, that doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. Like, and I agree with you 100%. I think Adam Schefter should come out and apologize for what he said, the way he reported on. I feel like that kind of like goes against, they say, the morals of journalism. If there is even morals of journalism anymore, I don't think there is.
It's not.
Because people don't care. Like, you see the TMZs, things of that nature. Even we go back all the way to Pop Smoke, like how they were reporting that situation. They were showing like the body and stuff like that, which is nuts to me. But it's just like you said, how the conversation about how people like view us in entertainment is nuts. Obviously, to me, I think like in the grand scheme of things, like we're viewed as just, all right, we're money makers at the end of the day. Like, they say, oh, can you make money from me? You can't make money from the moment you can't make money from, we don't care about you anymore.
And that's the thing with Schefter. Like, Schefter knows what he's doing. Schefter knew what he was doing when he tweeted that. Yeah. He knew exactly what he was doing. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing, because he's been tweeting a little bit too wild now, because he got a little bit of shine, because everybody comes to him for the sports news.
Confidence.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't get to tweet that stuff and think that we're not going to come for you. You know what I'm saying? Granted, because he deleted it, will ESPN say something about it? Probably not.
You don't think they will?
Unless we make a big enough noise about it, they probably won't.
Do you think people are going to continue to like not, I'm not saying like harass him, but like keep coming at him, applying the pressure to say something, to apologize, at least at the very minimum?
Probably not. Because if he didn't apologize, like, it's been what, 1-2 days since we found the news. Yeah. If Adam Schefter didn't apologize by Tuesday, nothing gonna happen.
Facts. And I think, do you think it's on like the Shannon Sharps and the Stephen A's to say something like, you shouldn't have like come out like Adam Schefter, like you wrong for that, like how they do anything else. Like if an athlete were to do something crazy, they will come out and make a statement like, you need to make a public apology, you need to do this, and this. But it's one of their coworkers, they're not saying nothing.
Yes, they need to. Like, I'm not joking. Like, if they don't, like, I would lose respect for them, because Stephen A. Smith is on the internet.
Yeah.
We all know Shannon Sharp on the internet.
All the time.
Yeah. So my thing is that you see what we're talking about.
Exactly.
So if I'm not Stephen A., he may not, because they work together, but Shannon Sharp, who work on Fox News, if you don't say anything about it, you're corny for that. You're corny. Because my thing is that, like, you don't get to sit here and be in that position, and this is where I hold people accountable sometimes, on just not even the fact about being a black man, but just being a person and not challenging someone or correcting someone that did something disrespectful.
Thanks.
Because my thing is that, had this been Tom Brady, and they said Tom Brady struggled in his last game or in this, that, and the third, like, nobody would care about that.
Nope.
People will come crazy at him for that. You know what I'm saying? And so my thing is that you don't get to do that because if Peyton Manning died, he fell off. Marcus Mariota died, he fell off.
They would been playing all the greatest highlights and things of that nature, and not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Saying about all his accolades and things of that nature. Like, why couldn't, my thing is like, Dwayne Haskins had all these accolades when he was at Ohio State. Why didn't you just read that off and if you were going to say something about football and things of that nature? Why don't you talk about the positive? Why is the first thing you say something negative about him as a person? Like, I don't understand that. Like, and it's the same thing like when any other like famous black person dies or things of that nature. Like, they talk about the troubles they had in this and this as opposed to what they done. Like, positive.
Because my thing is, if we do that, like, if I have to give my big theory on stuff like this, like, what people don't understand is that a lot of these sports, not even just sports, all these stations, news stations, TV channels, all these channels that you watch, a majority of them are owned only by like 4 major media companies, like Viacom, CBS. I think NBC might be one of the big. Like, they're all owned by like 4 major companies, right? Mm-hmm. And my thing is that when you look at it like that, most of these people are old as hell. There's a reason why Fox News only talks so much about liberals and how they talked about Obama. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's like when you break everything down and look at it, if you go and you talk about a black man in a positive light, as opposed to how the media and these companies want to project black people, that goes against everything that they want the media to show. Like, when you look at it, it's like, for example, to be a little bit abstract, and I'll bring it in. When you look at what Disney's doing, Disney wants to bring in more minority people, as in people who are part of the LGBTQ community. I personally don't have a problem with it in terms of having those types of characters, but you don't have to force it in, right?
What do you mean by force it in?
You don't have to make a character gay as a main character or make the agenda that he is gay for you to sit here and have a gay character in there.
Why not? Why can't they? But I might have to disagree with that. Though. Why can't they make a show centered around that? Make the main character that. If you're talking about, because you can't advocate for representation and then say, why do they have to do this and this when it comes to somebody like that?
Because it's not going to be authentic.
How is it not going to be authentic?
Because my thing is, granted, let me not say it in that sense, because I guess what I'm trying to say is that because Disney is going to somehow make it authentic, but there's certain stories that and this is what I mean when I say agendas. There's certain agendas and certain things that we kind of have to push ourselves out of in order for us to move into normalizing things. Part of the reason why the LGBTQ community, in my opinion, is projected in a certain way is because the media projects them in a certain way of these people that are struggling and doing these different things on TV. I'm not saying that doesn't happen in real life, but the whole thing of TV or media, in my opinion, when you do those things, is you have to show it in a light where it's normalized already for people to make it normalized.
Well, how do you do that if you don't present it to the people? That's what I'm trying to say. How do you make it? How does it become a normalized thing?
You have to change this. I guess what I'm trying to say is, okay, I'll put it like this: I don't mind it, but don't make it the typical. This kid is in the closet. He's dealing with a homophobic dad. His mom doesn't know what to do. This, that, and the third.
So you're saying you would like to see more variety of stories besides the same thing that they keep
yes, that's the
over
best.
And over again.
Yes, because my thing is when you do that, you're now sitting here still continuing to push an agenda that we're trying to move past.
Because not everyone of those struggling. There's very successful people. There's things. I
know
what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're saying when it comes to like the same roles that they put black people in. Yeah. Movies, like you talk about the slave narrative or someone that's a black man that's struggling in the hood, whatever that type of thing. Okay, I get what you're saying.
And my thing is like with Disney, I don't want them to be in a position where they're like, oh my gosh, they make that same exact stereotypical story.
Okay.
So bringing that back into how they view us in the media, there's an agenda that they have for African Americans. Like, there's a reason why they show so many African American stories about trauma. There's so many reasons why the drug TV shows sell so well. Like the gangster TV shows, well, they do. You know what I'm saying? Like those things sell well for a reason. They throw the money into it. They don't throw the money all the time into all these insecures.
Do you think that's that cultural conditioning?
Yeah, and I think it's a shift because it's a weird shift because I'll say going back to I'm rewatching My Wife and Kids, right?
Yeah.
And it's very funny because when you actually sit down and just think about the show, you can put white characters in that show. Granted, probably won't be as funny because they different, but you could put you could make that a white comedy show and the story and the messages from the first season still hit the same. You get what I'm saying?
I gotta rewatch it now
because it's like you're watching a patriarch, basically a man who runs the house. He has a daughter that's growing up. His son's growing up. He's trying to teach his son lessons, trying to teach his daughter lessons. You're obviously dealing with the marriage, and you have the youngest daughter. You have the dad who's clearly he loves his baby, like he loves his daughters. She has the oldest daughter growing up. He has a son that he's trying to teach to be a man, things of that nature. And it's like, you could put that in any race and that show still hits.
Okay.
The thing now is that we look at these shows and I'm looking at it as like, yo, we have My Wife and Kids. We had Family Matters. We had Fresh Prince to an extent.
Family Matters is one of my favorites.
You get what I'm saying? We had those shows, and now we're pushed into an agenda where it's like now the stereotypical thing to talk about is the trauma of, oh, my daddy wasn't around, or my mama was this, my dad was this, and it's like,
or becoming like a drug king.
Yeah, it's like,
nature.
Granted, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's like we had other shows that did just as well. My Wife and Kids had 5 seasons. Martin had how many seasons? Like 5, 6, 7.
Martin had a good amount. Fresh Prince. There's a bunch of that whole 90s sitcom era. It was like there was a lot of black-led shows like that that featured a lot of like a positive stuff. It wasn't just your typical things we see nowadays.
Exactly. And my thing is that like all that stuff was just regular. It wasn't like a forced agenda. It's like we don't see the, oh my gosh, I never had my dad before. I never had my mom before. My mom is this. It was just normal. And going back to like my whole thing is that like now because there's an agenda of how they want us to look, they have to push that in that light. You know what I'm saying? So talking about people like Dwayne Haskins, talking about people like us, all the way down even to social media, they have to talk about us like that because if not, it doesn't go into the agenda that makes them the money. Like when it comes to African Americans, when you put us in a negative light, unfortunately, we watch as African Americans, and more importantly for them, a lot of the white people watch. Yeah. And it's unfortunate. And while I was saying the whole thing about Disney is that like I don't like the agendas being pushed. Like you don't have to make an announcement. Just do it and make it normal.
Does it give you comfort though that we see producers like we talked about this before, like a Issa Rae, that like shows like Insecure are produced. Would you like to see more shows of that nature or just of like that context that puts us in a different like, perspective?
Yeah, because I think that it like one of the things I appreciate about Issa Rae was the fact of whether people look at it or not, is like she took a lot of elements of just having a regular ass TV show with regular black people who just go through regular problems. Like, there was a little, black people don't do this, but it's like, it was just, but it was still regular. Like,
it was super relatable. Cause you all know like a character that was in that show. You feel me?
And that's why it was great. Do I think that a lot of these other all these other stations are going to imitate that? Absolutely not, because that's not what's going to sell. You know what I'm saying? But Issa Rae is leading that march and trying to do all that stuff for herself. But I think that she'll be able to produce maybe a little bit more TV shows from different people. But from the most part, I don't think that the big people are going to fund that the way that they should. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it sucks. And that's why I was saying the whole Disney thing. You have to make sure that you don't have to force it. You just do it. I mention this all the time. One Piece, right? I say it's the greatest fictional story ever. Still going.
I saw you tweet that it's the greatest fictional story ever.
Bro, it's about to pass Superman and Batman as the top selling comic ever. Come on now, like let's stop. Like, but that's my little. But my thing is like they're like the.
Is it better than Superman and Batman?
I mean, technically yes, but we're not going into that discussion. But fictionally yes, but we're not going to talk about that. But we're not going to talk about that because I'll go on a rant for like 20 minutes. But my thing is that like with One Piece, I mentioned it before. There's an arc that they're in now, right? And part of that arc deals with identity. It's about a pirate, do all that stuff. You can read it, watch it, whatever you want to do. Someone from an old pirate crew looks like a woman, but he's a man. He identifies as a man.
Uh-huh.
There's a girl in the show identifies as another human being who's a guy. Nobody questions it because everything kind of falls in line with how the story and how the arc progresses. You get what I'm saying? And my thing is that for me, my issues, when you want to do something, you don't have to announce it. Just do it, and nobody says anything about it. Because now when you just write the story and you write it in a sense where everything just makes sense and it's organic and it's not forced, people are okay with stuff. But there's a difference when you're force-feeding stuff.
All right, let me ask you this then, because we're talking, since we're on this in the shows.
Yeah.
Do you think Euphoria did a good job of that? I think they kind of did.
I think they did a good job of it the first season. I think the second season was trash writing, but the first season.
No, I'm not even talking about the writing. I'm just talking about just like how they introduced. Oh yeah,
definitely.
I feel like it was
definitely.
It was like, I think every character, no matter was it a black person, whatever it may be, I think the way they told the story and introduced people was very like organic and had like
And that's why I think the first season went so well, because you're looking at the background story and you're seeing how that background plays into the current arc and story of what they have. And that's what makes it good writing. You know what I mean? And for me, it's just like now the second season they just started doing too much. But that's my thing. It's like when you just start to force things. Second season felt very forced. And that's what I mean. You don't have to force writing to have an agenda.
I felt like there was a lot of I felt like it was rushed. To me, like when I watched it, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that didn't like get closed. Like parts of the stories that you would think got closed, should have got closed in the second season, they didn't even circle back to it, nothing like that. And it's like, all right, what happened? Like what
happened to McKay? Cat storyline with her boyfriend, like all the stuff.
Like when Rue owes that woman a hella bread. What happened to her when she stuck the needle in her? Like
it was not good writing this season. But that's my thing. It's like
they skipped over that whole part.
And that's what happens normally, in my opinion, when you try to force certain things. You try to force to say we're gonna have Zendaya be super dramatic. We're gonna force the dramatics this season. Like when you force the stuff, you lose the ability to make things impact. You lose the ability to impact people for longer than what you want it to be, because now it was just a culture shock, and now people are not going to think about it for 2-3 years.
Yeah, because I feel like also like because that scene where she was in the kitchen and she was yelling at what's her name
Jules.
At Jules, I felt like that was a very good acting performance, but
it was.
But like people aren't really gonna remember that joint like that
because
of the way the season was.
Yeah, it wasn't good writing. Like if they wrote it in a way where that should have there was no way for that to happen, I'm like, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Because, it's a buildup. You know what I'm saying? But Sam Levinson's not a good writer anyways, but so it is.
Where do you rank Zendaya in terms of like actors, models, that type of thing? Do you think
she's a very I can't do that because she's more of a younger generation type of thing. So
I'm saying though in terms of like career wise, do you think she's
successful?
Yeah, I know she's successful, but I'm saying like when you have in the sense of like, do you think she's like the top actress right now?
No.
Do you think who's your favorite actress right now?
My favorite
right now, who do you think?
I don't have a favorite actress. I don't have a favorite actress right now. It's a good question, actually. I have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah, I was curious. I think she's doing her thing.
She's definitely. Don't get me wrong. She's doing her thing. Like she.
Let me ask you this: do you think out of the characters in Euphoria, who do you like the best? Like who do you think is like that person
in terms of playing the role well?
Playing the role very well. I think Fesco. That's my guy.
Fesco kind of seemed very natural because after you actually know who he seems very. Who is it? What's the girl name? Maddie's best friend, the white girl.
I don't know. I'm forgetting her name.
I can't remember her name. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah. But she thinks she plays the best. I think Maddie did play a good role too.
Maddie played a good. No, this season she did really well. But Shorty, why can't I think of her name? But that Shorty, the one that went on stage and was smacking her,
she's going crazy. The scene where she was just crying in the mirror. That joint was crazy.
Yeah, that was a really good scene.
I'm trying to find her. Oh, Cassie, that's her name.
Cassie, yeah.
She did play her role really well.
No, she's playing her role very well. I think that she's doing a good job. Obviously, then they're doing her thing, but yeah, they doing their thing.
That's a good series, man. They just need to come back with season 3 needs to come back like crazy.
They need to write that. They need to write.
But they're taking a pretty long break, I think.
Yeah, so we'll see what'll happen.
But let's jump into the Black Lives Matter situation. In depth, I know the lady was stealing money, but do you know like the in-depth process, like what actually like went down with it?
They bought a $6 million house, and the reason why they bought it, they said they wanted to use it as a safe house for all the activists, for all the people who are part of Black Lives Matter, and for all African Americans. That's really all you need to hear.
That's crazy, and I say that because also I think I also read they were looking to see like where all the money that they raised went, and they couldn't. None of it went to anything. Besides, like their pockets or the mansion that you just talked to, like, which is nuts.
And they got a deal to make content years ago.
So let me ask you this: what do you say to all the people? Because there's a lot of people like when the politics were going on, when the presidential race was going on, things of that nature, and people were calling out the Black Lives Matter like organization, and you would get backlash for it. You feel me? Saying like they're not doing anything, things of that nature, and they'd be like, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that? You know what I'm saying? So
that is a prime example of we can't justify that. Like if news channels were to come crazy at Black Lives Matter, I can't say nothing. Y'all stole money from all the African Americans. Not even just African Americans. You stole money from white people.
From everybody, essentially.
Yeah. And the only thing you could say is that you have a $6 million house, y'all went on vacation, y'all have a new publishing deal to make content.
For what though? I still don't understand what that content deal is about.
That's what I'm saying.
What are
you have a content deal.
Does that go back to what we talked about with the narrative of pushing a certain narrative when it comes to the media?
Yes. Like now, it looked cool, but you didn't do anything with the money, and now you're gonna push this agenda of all these. Now I got going.
So let me ask you: how do you regulate organizations like this when it comes to trusting an organization to do the work that they said they're gonna do and things of that nature?
You need a balance of people, and you need a diverse board. And what I mean by that, you need men and women on your board. That whole place is made up of Black women, and I don't have a problem with Black women being on board, but you also need to have a balance, because it doesn't make sense that a group of Black women started this organization, and not only that, they've also pushed a bunch of different agendas for Black women, but they're also profiting off of Black men, and Black men are not on the board to have a say on how Black men are going to be policed.
They have zero men on their board.
The core creators are still on the board, and they're the majority of the people that make the decisions.
I feel you.
And for me, it's like George Floyd died. What did y'all do? Y'all just got an influx of money. There's still no Black men that are in charge of operations, y'all decisions. And once again, it's not about the Black woman thing, but it's the reason why you guys are so popular majority of the time is because of Black men being killed. So now imagine.
So you're saying that if Black men weren't getting killed the way they were, this organization wouldn't be what it is. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And for that, you also need to have Black men on that board to help y'all move in a way that makes sense, because
to help Black men.
Yeah, to also not even just help Black men, but to help Black people. Yeah, because it's Black women are obviously getting killed, but you start this organization, but Black men get killed at a higher clip than anybody else in this country. So how does it look that someone who is the threat is not even on the board to make decisions on how you should move about the people who have been killed? You know what I mean? Like it looks crazy to me. And then it's like, and for people and for the super extremists that don't believe in this stuff, it's like the concept of like, okay, you want us to just believe all Black women, you want us to believe on these situations just being 100% on board with y'all, but this is where the Black women that are watching need to hold people accountable.
Let me ask you this. So like, this is like the big Black Lives Matter crew, not like the grassroots teams. I think that the grassroots teams are actually like the ones that are really like doing the work. From my knowledge. So it's like, if you're a grassroots organization, like the grassroots, the people that are like the local Black Lives Matter chains, branches, things of that nature, how do you, I guess, like I said earlier, regulate or hold the bigger organization or the founders, the heads of the board to what they said they're going to do?
I mean, they wrote a document and they wrote like a letter to the organization of Black Lives Matter saying, where is the money? Because we have not received any of the funds that we said we needed to receive.
So my thing is like this: if all this is happening, there should be some type of process that allows you to vote these people that are in these boards, that are in these chairs down, that's not doing what they're supposed to do. Because from the beginning, like the people, like I said, the local branches, things of that nature, they're doing it for the good cause.
Yep.
And when it comes to that, if they're trying to push for the good cause, push for the initiatives that people are asking for, and the people at top aren't listening, then there has to be some way to remove those people or to hold those people accountable. So if they don't do what they said they're going to do, they can be held accountable for it or removed.
And you want to know why that's not happening?
Why?
Like I said, we need the Black woman to hold the Black woman accountable.
But you can't just say. I think it's not just the Black women though. It has to be everybody that's in the organization.
But I'm not.
Because the local organizations are made up of men and women. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like there has to be a way for them to either unionize, whatever it is, to push initiative forward, especially if this is going to be the leading charge to change what needs to be changed.
But I'm saying this from a sense of, like I said, Black women give you the temperature of the room. When Black women speak, the majority of us listen. We listen. Whether the right or wrong is different, but when they talk, we listen. What I'm saying about this is that it's not even just about the grassroots organization. I'm talking about the people who aren't even in the organization need to say something.
Like who? Like who would you want to say
something? I'm talking about the people like you and me who are there just observing what's going on. Not the people. I'm a part of the Black Lives Matter branch in Philadelphia. I'm talking about the people who I don't want to say little people, the constituents. That's a better word to say. The constituents who we're trying to market for and we're trying to protect need to say something about the organization of Black Lives Matter to say, you guys are moving funny. We need new people in here or we're not donating to y'all anymore.
So my thing is, who's the people that keep donating to fund this organization?
I'm saying, last year they made $90 million because of racial tension. Yeah. So it's like, I'm talking about us.
So they profit off of racial tension, essentially.
Yeah, which essentially happened because of a black man. And I'm saying the black women, in this sense, if they were the ones who came up and started speaking out against it, it speaks more volumes because they're going to listen to them.
Okay.
Because at that point, you move that way, you get what we want. We vote.
I'm gonna push back because I know I know for a fact that there are people that are women and men, like I said, that are speaking out against this. And we've seen it. Like we've seen people, whether it be on the social channels, whether it be in the media, things of that nature. People do push back, but that doesn't really seem to put a dent in anything that's going on.
Because not enough people are talking about it. Put it like this, right? This is a funny story. Remember when 106 in Park got canceled for a week because they were talking about Beyonce?
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say black women should speak. And if they did that, guarantee you they would have a document, they would know exactly where that's going. They did the same thing. If black women, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, if black women and the black community did what they did to 106 in Park, I guarantee you, before the end of the year, they will have a brand new organized process. And I'll fix most of the problems we have. Or at least appear to fix most of the problems we have.
I think it has to be more than just that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it has to be more than just that. I'll digress on that one, but I think there's a lot more that can be done when it comes to that. I don't know. Maybe even like finding another organization or another initiative that can push what needs to be pushed forward.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it seems like even over time, even though all this stuff's happening, all this media attention's been, nothing really like changes in a sense.
I'll say this because there was when Black Lives Matter was big last year, 2 years ago. They were talking a lot about there were smaller organizations that they had like going on in like Minnesota, things in Ferguson, things of that nature. They had smaller organizations, but I remember me listening into like an activist there for like one of the smaller organizations. They said the Black Lives Matter group kind of came in and it kind of overtook everything because they're because of the brand. And so it's like, for me, it's like at this point, it's a brand, you know what I mean? And so like when the brand has that, now you have to kind of move, like you kind of have to move out the way for your smaller people. And it's like, it sucks. There are smaller organizations that people probably do support, but it all gets bunched into Black Lives Matter, which is why, like, I guess my whole thing is that, like, you kind of we all have to shed light on it to the point where it's like, okay, where is the money? Or what are you guys doing with the money? Because we've said this, we talked about this years ago. We talked about this like a couple seasons ago. Yeah. We talked about this again, I think, last year about the media deal, all that stuff. Like, they stealing money. They sitting on $90 million, and they bought a $6 million house and has a media deal. Has done nothing for us.
Facts. And that brings me to, like, when we talk about a new change and things of that nature, do you think, and just taking it away from Black Lives Matter, just all industries in general, do you think we're at that turning point where new faces are going to start to rise, like whether it's in politics, whether it's in media, whether it's in sports, where that's going to either push a new narrative or just change things in whole? You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of things are going to start changing because it's like, you got to understand, like, I was talking about this today with one of my coworkers in a weird way, like, we're in a bubble for a lot of different things. The political bubble, the tech bubble, the health bubble. Like, we're all in a bunch of bubbles right now. And when they pop, shit's going to go left, right? And my thing is that with things like organizations, we're in that way where it's like, now you really have to listen to the people and what they want. Because it's easy for us to tweet in 300 characters, yo, Black Lives Matter did this, and this, and someone can easily, you could pay for tweets. You could pay to market your tweet.
Yeah, you can.
And 100,000 people can look at that shit.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And you can pay people to tweet, to comment on it, to support what you're saying.
Yeah, and so it's like, you have to understand, like, people can push this agenda if they really wanted to, or push any agenda. And so my thing is that now, because we're in that bubble, there's a lot more eyes on what we're doing. And the people who are really authentic, the people that really want change, the people that are really trying to make movements, those are the people that are going to start rising up and automatically getting into those positions that we need them to be into. You know what I mean? So,
because I think like even just watching SNL, how they have a new host, and just things like the people that are rising in media, new names that are coming to the forefront. How we always talk about all the women that are coming to the forefront, like at ESPN, Fox, things of that nature. I think like it's just I'm gonna call it a new dawns, like upon like just the world in general, at least in our bubble, in our like the United States of America, I guess you could say, and the faces that we see that are in entertainment, that are in politics, and things of that nature. Because like, the older generation, it's, you know what I'm saying, they're getting up there. You feel like even that's like our Joe Bidens and the Trumps and things of that nature. There's going to be a new face sooner or later that's going to be the next like presidential candidate or next congressman or whatever it may be. That's going to dictate how our world is going to be. You feel me?
And that's the thing. It's like we're getting to. I think we're moving into that phase where it's like we can't rely on the older people to do the stuff that we want to do anymore, because it's like we're already showing you that we don't need y'all to make money. I can go on YouTube and be a vlogger. I can go make money through esports. I can go make money through OnlyFans, and we could do all these different things. And it's like, I don't need to be for a large corporation to do what I need to do. I can go make my own following and make my impact. And it's like, at this point now, a lot of the classical big organizations need to pay attention to that. Like, you need the little people now more than ever.
And I think they are paying attention.
I mean, I think they are, but I think they're also doing a bad job of trying to even get them. It's like,
I think it's this. I think they're paying attention, but they don't think it's realistic. They're like, oh, it's a fad that's gonna go away like this. I always say this all the time. Like, the same way people say stuff about the internet, and you feel me? It's the same thing. Like, who is this? This internet stuff is just a fad. Everybody's not using it. The phone book went away. You know what I'm saying? All this different stuff went away, and it's just like, I think we're in that same type of turning point where, like, big corporations, and we saw it with the Robin Hood thing. Where the little man is making all this bread. We don't need to trade with the big corporation anymore. You feel me? And it's like they're trying to do everything to put a halt on it. Even when we talk about the metaverse and things of that nature, I think they don't want it to be something because they don't understand it. And I think a lot of people are afraid because they don't understand it.
And I think it's not even just. I guess I guess that's a good way to put it. So I was going to say, it's that they don't understand it, but I think it's also don't understand how they fit in and keep their power. Yeah, you know what I mean. I think that's the way I would interpret it, because it's like, I use politics for example. It's like you try to fit in with what you're doing now, but still trying to adapt to the status quo. You can't adapt to the status quo now because everybody's about what they want to do. You know what I mean? It's like it's all about what do I want, and it's like for Joe Biden, it's like, granted, I'm not trying to get into a political discussion tonight, but it's like, with Joe Biden and him saying he was going to cancel loans, he was going to cancel this student loans, he's going to do all these different things, and the only thing you gave us is Ketanji Brown Jackson. It's like, okay, that's cool and all, but I want my loans canceled because my credit score is effed up because y'all introduced that 30 years ago, and I still need that done because I need to make my own personal things happen. So it's like, if you're not...
that boy got deep right there.
No, but that's how people think. It's like, so now how do you, as Joe Biden, looking at an old classical model of, I don't have to listen to everybody, now you're in a position where you have to listen to these people. How do you fit in with that and keep your status quo? You're not going to.
So do you think people are holding them accountable though? Like, you say all this, but I don't think I mean, like, same way you talk about people holding the organizations accountable. Do you think they're holding the people in the office to power? I mean, to what they said or what they didn't say.
Since we're on this topic, my biggest fear is they vote Joe Biden back into office.
Do you think he's gonna run again?
He can't. He's old, bro.
That's what I said. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think he's gonna run again.
The whole option in my own weird theory is that they got Kamala obviously to get the appeal to black voters, but because Kamala's very similar to Joe Biden in a lot of ways. I said this last time we were talking about it. Joe Biden's family and Kamala Harris's family are very close from my own sources of people who work in politics. So they voted her into office, and she'll be able to do a lot of the things that Joe wants to do. And when she runs, because she's going to run in 2024, when she runs, then we'll see that. And
do you think if she's going toe to toe with whatchamacallit, do you think she has a shot?
Depends on who. We don't even know. I don't even know who's running yet. But I'm going to start paying attention to that, because I will be honest. I don't. If the Democrats move the same way that they've been moving now, where they're just trying to just not. Like, they're playing an election to not let Republicans in office rather than trying to win and help people. Yeah, I will be voting as a Republican or independent.
Really?
Yeah, because at this point it's tiring now. Like, y'all had Trump in office for 4 years. Y'all didn't come up with a plan to really move in a way that would really help the young voters and young constituents. At this point, like, gas is $4. Like, all these people care about the stuff that happens to them. Like, and I'm not trying to make this a whole I'm Republican thing, but it's like, look at it. Like, it don't make sense that, granted, this is me throwing it what people are thinking. Like, people are thinking it don't make sense that Trump was in office, gas was not over $3 or over $3.30, corporate tax was not that much. We weren't in war. We didn't have all these things, but now Joe Biden's in here. Now all of a sudden, all the shit's messed up.
I mean, like, everything. Can you put everything on his plate though, and saying it's his fault though? Because a lot of this stuff was trembling before he got into office.
No, but my thing is that a lot of the things that he did, like a lot of the things that a lot of the people cared about, made, like, not for me. A lot of those people think that Trump made sure that was cool. Gas prices were low. at least we were working on someone trying to get our student loans forgiven. Like he was focusing on the actual stuff that individuals really cared about. And I'm not saying it's for me.
Yeah, I'm saying, but did it happen though? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, you can say he's focused, but at the end of the day, nothing on either side really happened. You feel me? That's what I get what
you're saying.
That's what I was trying to get at. Is like, who do you think is gonna actually do you think there has to be somebody new that's at a different age demographic that comes
has to be younger
that's gonna actually listen to what we're saying? Because we're at the end of the day, our age group right now, we're about to be the people that are essentially leading the country in our
definitely
in the corporate world and whatever it is. You feel me?
We need to. They need to be younger because it's like it has to be a younger person. Because like the only reason why I'm saying it like this is because Joe Biden made these promises of I'm going to stop systematic racism. I'm going to forgive student loan. I'm going to do these things. And we're halfway through your term. You're not forgiving nothing. And you just push back loans again. It's like, bro, like I see what you're trying to do here. And so for me, it's like,
dang, it is 2 years, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like my theory is that he's waiting until it's really midterms for him to use that as a clutch to now get points in the election. So that's how Democrats can stay in office. But we'll see if that happens. That's just a theory. But it's like we need a new younger political representative because these old people are very out of touch because like, oh, you can't do this because it's like, well, if you do this now, we're going to have to move like this. But it's like at this point, people don't care about how the politicians move because at the end of the day, you're not really moving to help the people. You're moving to help your party. We as people that are down here, the constituents, we only care about what's going to help me and my environment around me so my family's okay and I'm personally okay. And if you're not moving in a way that's going to help me for that, like you promising me you're going to forgive my student loans and then now you're just playing around with it, I'm not going to vote for you. That's how these people are moving now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people move that way in general, but I think a lot of people when they vote, it's not necessarily voting on what's going to help the masses, but what's going to help them as an individual person in general. So
yeah, no, that's the biggest thing, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's just about voting. It's just how people want to move now. So it work.
Yeah,
I want to work from home. Okay, you're not letting me work from home.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I was just having that conversation the other day. One of the homies we were talking about, like how he was trying to find a new job and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Like when the summer hits are coming into the new year, and he's like, yeah, he's been getting like talking to a lot of people, but they want him to come into office. And he's like, he wants to stay where he's at because he's in a position where he's making good bread and he's working remote. So it's like he wants to get in, elevate, but it's like all these people want to come in. But he's like, that's something he doesn't want to give up because it's shown that he can work and be effective at the crib.
Yeah, and it saves you money. Like a lot of people got to move into apartments, do all the things that they really wanted to do because they're working from home and they're efficient.
Yep.
You know, it's not for everybody, but like it's just. Goes back to what we're saying, like with organizations, it's just we have to make sure that people are paying attention to the little people. That's all we're trying to say now, because it's like the little people will abandon you. And I'm not saying it's little people as in we're little, but the people who are not in those places making those big decisions, we will leave you. 1%. Yeah, like the 1% is not important anymore. Like in a sense of we could take away your power if we wanted to.
That's a fact. That's 100% fact. Before we close out, I want to get your thought on the Lakers. And LeBron, they're missing the playoffs.
Everybody except Bron getting traded.
You think AD out of there?
Yeah.
Russ out of there?
Yes.
Melo out of there?
Yes.
Who do you think they need to bring in?
I think that I would not be surprised if they brought in LaMelo Ball.
They're not bringing LaMelo. LaMelo is not getting up.
I mean, I'm just throwing that out there, but AD got to go to Portland.
AD, I think they probably gonna keep AD. They probably gonna just build some other pieces around him. AD just got to be healthy, in my opinion.
He's not ever gonna be healthy, bro.
And Bron, I mean, he's going into year 20. He's still playing at a high level, so we'll see. These playoffs are gonna be interesting. I like the way Memphis is playing right now.
Memphis is playing good. I think it's going to be the Bucks or the Heat. It's going to be the Bucks and the Heat in the East Conference Finals. And
the
then
Heat got a roster, bro. I was looking at their team.
They have a roster.
I was looking at their team. I think they're gonna come on of late. They're gonna be a tough out in the playoffs.
They are
be a tough out.
They are.
Because I forgot they had Oladipo too. They have Butler. They have
and Oladipo's just getting to play better.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I forgot about Oladipo, to be honest. But
that's what I'm saying,
it's gonna be interesting. The playoffs are gonna be definitely interesting. I think
in the West,
I think the Bucks might come out.
Might be the Bucks and the Suns again.
You think the Suns are coming out?
Yeah, they got too much chemistry, bro. And they listen to NBA YoungBoy, so it's dubs for everybody.
Yeah, we're gonna see. The Suns might make it back.
I don't think anybody poses a real problem for them.
I think the Warriors are gonna pose a problem for them, just being in the playoffs and the experience.
We'll see.
Because the first time all three are gonna be playing together. like in a playoff game in a long time. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. They might have to figure out the chemistry again, but we'll see.
We'll see. But that's all I got for this episode. You got anything else?
Nah. Shout out to my boy. Shout out to my boy Shann. Love you, bro.
Shout out to Shann, man. Sending love, sending prayers to the family, man. That's all for episode 83 of the Faces of the Future podcast. It's your boy Millz.
It's your boy, man. Some Mus.
We out of here. Peace.
Peace.